There's a reason you hesitate, a reason you delay, a reason you can spend hours scrolling, organizing, overthinking, yet still not start. Steven Pressfield gives it a name: resistance. That invisible, merciless force that emerges every time you attempt to rise above yourself, to paint, to write, to change your habits, to launch the project, to commit. It's not just fear, it's everything that keeps you from showing up. Resistance is not out there in the world. It's inside you. That's what makes it so dangerous. So familiar. So hard to notice, and even harder to conquer.
In the war of art, Pressfield doesn't sugarcoat it. You are already in battle. Not with a boss, not with critics, but with your own mind. And until you recognize that and learn how to fight, you'll keep losing to something you can't even name. Let's break down the core truths of this quiet war and how you can start winning today.
Resistance isn't just procrastination. It's not simply about laziness. It's not a character flaw or a quirk. It's a universal destructive force. And it has one mission: stop you from doing your work. Resistance shows up every time you sit down to write, decide to start a business, commit to exercising, try to repair a relationship, plan a meaningful life change. It doesn't yell, it whispers. It takes the form of perfectly logical excuses. You're not ready. This isn't the right time. Maybe you need to do more research. What if you fail? Who do you think you are? The problem is, those excuses feel true. That's why resistance is so dangerous. It sounds like you, but it's not. It's an ancient evolutionary survival instinct. A part of the brain that fears uncertainty, vulnerability, and change. Pressfield says, resistance isn't personal, it's predictable. And that's good news, because if you can predict it, you can prepare for it. And if you can prepare, you can conquer. Here's resistance's weakness: it can't survive movement. You might think you need clarity to begin, or confidence, or a perfect plan, but the truth is the cure is action. Not big action, not flashy, just forward motion. Write one paragraph, record one sentence, sketch one idea, send one email. Resistance starts to panic the moment you do ... You don't need to feel brave. You don't need a burst of inspiration. You just need to start. Start badly. Start scared. Start confused, but start. Because when you move, you rob resistance of its grip. Pressfield's words are simple. Put your ass where your heart wants to be. Sit down at the keyboard. Step onto the mat. Open the file. Show up. That's what resistance can't handle. You in motion. This is the core transformation. The most radical mindset shift of the book. The difference between those who create and those who dream: one turns pro, the other stays amateur. Amateurs create only when they feel like it. They wait for the mood, the stars to align, the muse to visit. They treat their calling like a hobby. Pros show up no matter what. Rain or shine, hungover or tired, inspired or not. It's not about ego, it's about duty. The pro builds a routine, protects their time, embraces boredom, prioritizes progress over perfection. They clock in and do the work, especially when it's hard. Amateurs fear failure. Pros expect it and keep going anyway. The professional loves it so much he dedicates his life to it. He commits full time. You don't need a degree or a following. You don't need anyone to call you a pro. You decide today, right now, that this matters enough to treat it seriously. That you will act, not dabble. Because until you go pro, resistance will always win. Here's a paradox. The more scared you are of a creative goal, the more important it probably is. Think about it. The book you've been avoiding for years? The hard conversation you keep delaying? The passion project that haunts you in quiet moments? Those fears don't point away from your purpose. They point directly at it. Resistance gets loudest when the stakes are highest. It attacks most viciously when you're closest to something that really matters. So instead of avoiding the fear, Pressfield says, follow it. Resistance will tell you anything to keep you from doing your work. It will perjure, fabricate. It will seduce you. Resistance is insidious. Those fears don't point away from your purpose. They point directly at it. Use that fear as a compass. Let it guide you to what matters most. If it terrifies you, excites you, threatens to undo everything, it might just be your calling. Don't run. Chase it down. In the final chapters, Pressfield goes deeper, past habits and hacks and hustle. He says that creative work is not just a craft. It's a spiritual practice. Call it divine. Call it the muse, call it flow, grace, energy, whatever name you give it. The truth remains. Real work connects you to something greater. When you honor your work, you step into alignment. You stop performing, you start serving. And the need for external validation begins to fade. Pressfield writes that the artist, the writer, the builder, they're all channels, conduits. Their job is not to shine, but to let something shine through them. That's why discipline matters. That's why structure, humility, and reverence matter. Because you're not just making a thing, you're fulfilling a calling. And when you treat it that way, the resistance shrinks. Not because it disappears, but because your purpose becomes louder than your doubt. The War of Art is not a feel-good book, it's a wake-up call. A mirror. A challenge. It reminds you that the real struggle isn't external, it's in your own mind. But here's the hope. Once you name it, you can fight it. And once you fight, you can win. Not in a single glorious battle, but in the small, unglamorous act of showing up. Day after day, hour by hour, doing the work. Even when no one sees, especially when no one applauds. So if you've been waiting for the right time, the perfect plan, the courage to arrive, stop waiting, start moving. The resistance won't like it, but your future self will thank you. If this helped you sharpen your focus and confront the creative war inside, hit that subscribe button. Because in our next episode, we're diving into Steal Like an Artist by Austin Kleon, and why originality isn't about invention, but about creative remixing. Until then, show up, do the work, and never forget. The battle is within, but so is the power